At the hospital, those cleats represent so many special people.
Oh, there's no doubt that Trevor represents them well. And oh my, that'll be Al-Shaair, who's flagged for the big hit on the slide, and that's going to start a little bit of a scrum afterwards as the Jaguars come in to protect their QB.
Hello everyone, this is the Pocket Passer. I'm your host Randy White. I hope all of you are having a fantastic day. I know I am, because we're talking about football, and more specifically, we are talking about the controversy surrounded hit by Azeez Al-Shaair that knocked Trevor Lawrence out of the game, sparked a big scrum on a sideline, and landed Azeez Al-Shaair himself a 3-game suspension that he's appealing. We'll get into that right now. So Azeez Al-Shaair was handed a 3-game suspension after the hit that was shown at the very beginning of this video, bouncing Trevor Lawrence's head on the ground, giving him a concussion, knocking him out for the game. Trevor Lawrence is now getting surgery on his left AC joint that was hurt for a lot of this year. So Trevor Lawrence's season is done now that the concussion has happened. He's going ahead with the surgery. Azeez Al-Shaair, again, appealing a 3-game suspension. There has been loads and loads of controversy. But despite how bad that play looked, I am going to echo the sentiment that many players and former players alike and the general manager for the Houston Texans have all echoed, which is, should that hit be penalized? Absolutely. But was it some dirty, egregious play that should have landed Azeez Al-Shaair the 3-game suspension that he currently has weighing against him? I don't think so. I feel fairly strongly that despite the fact that, yes, you can pull clips of Azeez Al-Shaair causing some problems, getting in some altercations. He punched someone on the sideline against the Bears. The rest didn't see it. But with that all being said, with all the concerns that have been thrown at him about his character, he apologized for it. And whether you think that that apology was sincere or not is kind of beside the point. The reality is this is a physical sport. Football is traditionally a I'm going to light your ass up if you get in front of me sport. And if you want to play around and try and get this first down and not slide in time, I am going to make you pay. That is how football is played. That is the mindset of any defensive player. It is an aggressive position, and it requires a level of intensity that doesn't include, let him get this first down. If you're close to the sticks and you're a quarterback, you got 2 choices. You either stay on your feet and you go get that first down, or you slide and you don't go get greedy and go get yards. Now you can say, oh, he was 5 yards away. Plenty of time. Let me tell you something. 5 yards. Hey, we got athletes running a 40-yard dash in 4.2 seconds. All right, that's 8 of those 5s in 4.2. That's half a second if they get up to top speed. And let me tell you something. Trevor's sprinting. Azeez Al-Shaair is getting there, trying to prevent a first down. And if you think he's going to stand up straight with a grown man in Trevor Lawrence that is a genuine athlete and can go take off and get yards, if you think Azeez Al-Shaair is not going to load up for a hit and go try and pop this guy, if he's actually trying to go run and get the first down, you're out of your mind. He's absolutely going to go try and make a play. That's what defenses do. You go out there and you go hit somebody if they get in front of you. And Trevor Lawrence slid late, 5 yards. Sometimes it's enough, and sometimes it's not enough. Now, should it have been penalized? Absolutely, because it was closer on the spectrum of that gray area, if you want to call it that, to where, yeah, Azeez Al-Shaair should have handled it differently, and he should have played it differently, and he should have just tried to kind of torpedo over instead of getting as low as he did and then shoving that forearm into Trevor's face. But for all the criticism about hitting Trevor in the face with his forearm, hey, you got to understand also, Azeez Al-Shaair is lunging to make a tackle, and if he doesn't put his arm in the way, he's going to spear Trevor in the forehead with his helmet possibly, or at least he probably feels that way. So putting the forearm out or an arm out is a natural reaction to brace for impact. So this idea that Azeez Al-Shaair is maliciously throwing his arm out there to do to Trevor what happened to Trevor, I think is an outlandish take. I don't think that this is some egregious terroristic act by Azeez Al-Shaair as much as the internet and as much as the social media reaction to the hit would make you believe. Again, is it a penalty? 15 yards? Absolutely. Could you argue ejection? Yes. it is much worse of a hit than the hit that caused Brian Branch's ejection against Green Bay. And I thought that ejection was pure nonsense. Again, another situation. Was it a 15-yard penalty? Yes. Brian Branch committed a 15-yard penalty. Was it ejectable? No. But they called it in. They ejected him. Here we go again. Azeez Al-Shaair, he hasn't been suspended. He hasn't really been fined all that much, and he hasn't really been penalized super heavily in games. Sure, does he have his fair share and probably more than the average guy? I would say probably, if I had to guess, not looking at the numbers, just based on kind of the way he approaches the game and the way he carries himself, and it's in a way that a lot of fans probably hate, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't say I'm a big Azeez Al-Shaair fan, but if you're a Houston Texan, if you're one of his teammates, he's a team captain, so clearly he's revered, respected in that locker room, someone that's getting the boys fired up, a key part of their culture to go out there and fly around and hit somebody on the defensive end of the ball, and that's the mantra of defense. What is it? See ball, get ball. It's not see ball, let ball, get first down. All right? So we're going to go out there and we're going to go fly around and make hits if you're a defensive guy. I'm not a defensive guy. I am an offensive guy. You'll hear me mention this briefly in my podcast with Blue 52 Football. I would recommend checking that out when it drops. I'm going to be editing that as soon as I get done editing this video. Awesome video between us talking about MVP awards, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, all the end of the year awards. We went over that, talked about the top candidates who we think should win, kind of breaking down the dynamics of the award. Really great conversation. Almost 2 hours of video I'm going to have to cut up. So that's going to be a lot of fun, time-consuming work for me here in just a little bit. But focusing on this Azeez Al-Shaair situation, I really do not believe that this is a 3-game suspension worthy hit. He's appealing it. Hopefully he's able to get it down to 2 games or even 1 game. To be honest with you, I don't think he should be suspended. It's a football hit in my mind. It's a football hit you don't want to see. It's a football hit you hate to see, and you hope you never see it again. And to see Trevor Lawrence, obviously the way things went with him, it's wildly unfortunate, and you hate to see it. But this isn't some egregious act. We've got people on the internet acting like Azeez Al-Shaair is worse than Hitler right now, and it's really just an absurd overreaction to a bad hit. It's not egregious, but it was bad. So let's give bad the proper reaction and not act like bad is terrorist level threat. It's really important that we compartmentalize our reactions in a way that's fitting so that when things that truly are awful happen, we can react appropriately. The reaction on the internet is not appropriate to this Azeez Al-Shaair hit. Is he a little bit of a more tote the line guy? But that's important for teams to have. That's part of football. Part of football is toting that line, getting close to that line and seeing how far can I go, because we got to make something happen that rattles the other team. And when you hate when it's rattling enough, jarring enough to knock out a star player like Trevor Lawrence is deemed to be, although I think he's overrated, but that's far beside the point. Trevor Lawrence is someone that you want to see out there on the football field. Big piece of them. Obviously, he's a tough guy. I got a ton of respect for his fight to try and stay on the field and fight through injuries. And then to have that happen to him, super unfortunate. Can't express enough how much I hate to see it. But there's a difference between hating to see something bad happen to one guy and really feeling for that guy and wishing it didn't happen, and completely overreacting to a negative event by creating an even more negative event by over punishing someone who's at the end of the day out there playing a competitive sport where emotions are high, where you're trying to hang on in a season where you're playing really, really good football and you're obviously leading the division, but things haven't been pretty the last few weeks. They've blown some games and they're trying to get back to their winning ways, and they're playing a tight game against a Jacksonville team that's been bad all year long, and I need to fly around and make a tone-setting play to go ahead and give my team the momentum. And then things go the way they do, and it just sucks. It sucks to see, but let's keep it real. Let's keep it football. Let's go around and fly around and make some hits and not be scared to do that and hope for the best. Injuries happen. It's contact sport. That's my take on the situation. Leave a comment below what you think. Is Azeez Al-Shaair the second coming of the devil? Is he the worst human being that's ever walked this earth? I happen to think he's not, but the sentiments might be a little bit different online. So be careful with how strongly you take input from social media and how willing you are to fly, to go with the flows, the ebbs and flows of the internet mob. Because it's going to take you on some wild rides if you don't use your brain for some self-critical thinking before you jump in there. I'm not a contrarian all the time, but I guess today I am. I appreciate you all for watching. Again, drop your comment down below on your opinion of Azeez Al-Shaair in this situation. How many games you think he should be suspended for, if at all, or what kind of fine he should be hit with, if any. Leave a like and smash that subscribe button if you've enjoyed this content and want to check out more of my videos. And I will see all of you in the next video. Peace.